Hello, my name is Agathe and I'm the owner of 𝗺𝗵𝗂, which is raw cuisine, which is amazing, full of nutrients. So that's what we're going to learn today, how to prepare breakfasts that are nutrient dense. So you eat in the morning and you go on and on and on and on till lunchtime. You can even pass lunchtime because you're so satiated. We're going to start with the usual that people do with smoothies is wanting to sweeten. No sugar, no processed sugar. So we're going to use dates. So what there is to know about dates is you cut them open and you look inside and take the pit out. And as you do that, then you look to see if there is a little black. If it's black, that's it, it's gone. If you see, sometimes you'll find a little friend in there, so you don't want to eat that guy, so you don't use those dates, and then you discard it. Medjool are nice. They usually are juicier than the deglet, and then, but you can also use deglets as well. Honey dates are very, very sweet, so really maybe not, or just a little, don't use as many. So those are the dates. Now to do the date syrup, what we'll do, and just to show, date syrup is just like this. It's consistency of honey. And so what's neat is you can also use that as a way to replace honey in a recipe. Honey could sometimes come through quite a bit in a recipe and fight with it, whereas date doesn't. Date really just blends in, sweetens, but blends in and support. And as we know, it's lots of fiber. Of course, all the nutrients in the food will be listed on my website, and so then you can find out there all about it. So the date syrup is basically very, very simple. Is you take dates and then water. Now, before I continue on this, I'm going to tell you the blender that you use, what's important when you do a recipe is to cover the blender blades. So you must put enough ingredients in your blender so that it covers the blade. Otherwise, it just spins and it's under and it doesn't blend. That makes sense. Okay, so we're putting our blender on with 0, and I'm using a scale. Why am I using a scale? So what happens is when you do a recipe, you'll see the way I do it, I love it. But you might go, oh, I like it a little different. And then you adjust. And then so you take the grams, so we work by grams, and you take it and you adjust it and you take a note of it. The beauty of this, I started doing this because my children would say to me back then when they were young, Mom, it's nice, but... And then we would work the recipe together to a point where they really enjoyed it. And then I took notes. And using grams, very easy to replicate. Otherwise, when you use cups, it's like, what do I do? Do I compact? Do I cut? Do I mince? What's a cup a date? And here instead is, what's the weight of the date? So we're putting the dates into our blender, and we have 302 grams. So I'm going to take my water. It's important to take, and the dates organic, I suggest strongly, and then the water is purified or filtered water. So now I'm going to go to 600, 618. It's fine, I'm a little over, but that's okay. Lid on, and then on the blender. Turn it on, and there we go. So, maybe you notice, but I want to tell you a little bit about the blender. I'm using the Blend Tech. Why? Because it has a cycle. So when I blend something, it starts and then it can go faster, lower. It pushes the food and it mixes the food. What happens with raw food is actually you could cook food in a blender because it spins so fast. So in doing this, you have the vortex. The food that's at the bottom goes up the side, down the center, and that's very important. So by changing speed like this, it goes zoo, zoo, then the food moves. And of course, you don't have to go inside with your spatula, which you can lose a spatula, as you can see. All right, so here we go. So the texture that you get is very creamy, and so it's going to be very practical when you do the smoothie because it won't. You know when you do a smoothie and then you get, oh, there is a piece of something that isn't blend? Well, that's part of it. If you put the dates as they are, entire date, you might get just that, a piece of date. And then it ruins the smoothie. There we go. So that's our first step. Now we're going to set up for the next step. See you in a little bit. Hello, we're back. So now is the smoothie time. We had our date syrup we did our milk, we're ready, and now we're doing a smoothie. What's great with the smoothie is you can really put a lot of things in there, and you can put things that children otherwise will go, I don't want to have this, but you can because they don't know it's in there. Hemp hearts is delicious. It's full omega. Oh, and actually, Jack, let's show what we have here. So we have the hemp hearts here. So omega-3, 6, and 9. We have, this will make it green, but there's a smoothie that we do green, so we can add that to it. The seeds, it just increases the what is in a smoothie and makes it, to feel satiated, and against more for children. Walnuts, good for the brain. Lucuma, mesquite are sweeteners. Maca, and then Toko is like an E vitamin. And then we're going to make a special smoothie with the cacao powder. Everybody loves that. So now let's start with the banana. I recommend you don't buy, I don't know if there are frozen bananas out there actually, I don't know. But also you need frozen fruits for the texture. When you don't freeze them, then it's more like a milkshake, which is another kind of taste. So the banana, you need to have them. You see all you have like a little bit of brown spots. You need a ripe banana to make any fruit. When you eat them not totally ripe, it just doesn't sit right. So you really need to have it ripe. And that's what it is when you see them this way. Usually when it's a organic banana, you will have, the banana will be all white, even though it's starting to show signs on the outside that it might be overripe. It's not. They use the other fruit like apples to ripen instead of gas. The ethylene gas, instead of gassing the banana, it's fruits that are like apples that will ripen them. So that's what we need to do. So like I said, I don't think that it exists out there. Look at me. I haven't never bought. Oh yeah, I bought frozen banana once from a supplier. A big case of it. It was not good. So I do ripen my own. I know they're delicious. So what you do is you put them into a container like this, but peel them first, of course, because you need to cut them to put them into your smoothies after. So you need to have them frozen, and then you can take them separately like this. Okay, so what we're going to do now is, just like anything else, and the recipe will be on my website, so don't worry about writing things down. I'm going to show you how to do the recipe like I have here. Here I have one with pineapple. It's already ready. So I'll show you. We're going to take a little container, put it on the scale, same thing again, always on the scale, 0 the scale, and then we're going to put our bananas in there. It's frozen. Cut the bananas so they're not too large pieces. So they are similar to your fruit that you will add. So we're going up to 70 gram, 80 gram. There you go, 74. I like that. And then we do 70 gram of fruit. So let's do a little mix here. We're going to do, I'm looking for my spoon. There is my spoon. We're going to do about 30 of this, so that brings us to 104. So that's the blueberry, and they're frozen. 114 is okay. And then I'm going to put some raspberries. They're delicious. So raspberry frozen, now we go up to 140. Hey, look at that, as if I knew. My goodness. Okay. So we've got this. The other part that is nice because it adds a zinc to it, and as you can see, I did this ahead of time. I cut and froze my oranges. So we put 40 gram of this. So we go up to 180. I'm at 188. I'll leave it. That's okay. A little bit over, but that's all right. I'm just going to put my banana back in here. Okay, now the simple thing, it's just fabulous. You put your blender on, and you add 8 ounces of milk. Just did our milk earlier. So we have our 8 ounces. I have to count without the bubbles. Okay. And I'm putting my fruits in. So I did this into a container like this. Why? Because you make kits. Just make a bunch of kits. And you see, like these ones, this is like a light green color. Those containers come with different colors, so you can have different smoothie. You know your color code, and then you grab it, and you know it's a strawberry smoothie, it's a chocolate smoothie, it's a, so you know about, and then you just grab it and make it in the morning. Now the beauty of what we're doing here is that you can push the button and go. You don't have to come back, because the usual story with smoothies is so people just put whatever into the blender, and then it's too thick, had liquid, now it's too liquid. And then for children, if you have children, it's like, it was better yesterday than today. So if you measure, you're always right on, and you don't waste your ingredients. So I'm putting all my fruits in there, and then I'm adding to that 20 grams, or you can use a tablespoon of, there you go, of the date syrup, and that's all you need. And again, it's like half a date, so don't worry, or don't use it if you don't want it. Now back to what we have here. So you can add any of these to the smoothie. Of course, if you had the green, it's going to change it to green, so I would suggest that you put your greens in a green smoothie. But otherwise, you can add any of this to your smoothie to make it more satiating. And when you do that, you add a little bit of, maybe like an ounce of the milk. You add a little bit of milk. Okay, so now let's blend. There we go. And there it is. Beautiful color. And like I said, for your children, you can add the ham parts in there, and it's just absolutely beautiful and yummy. Look at that. So that's one smoothie. So I was talking to you about greens, which is good for the children, and they don't know that it's kale, because otherwise, like, I don't want to eat kale. They don't know it. You just put it in. All right, so we start again with our 8 ounces there. And this time I have, like I showed you earlier, so I have my kit prepared, my bananas, I have pineapple, and I have the oranges. I put that in here. So you see how easy it is? That's what I'm saying, is, it's morning time. There's no time for la. You can go right away and put that in and make your smoothie. And then we add another 20 grams. Okay, so now we want the children to have a little bit of the greens, but they don't know. So actually I'm going to use half a teaspoon. And that brings me to talk about the superfood. There's no point in putting tons and tons and tons, because I don't think the body can absorb it all. So you end up flushing maybe. So, half a teaspoon of, I'm putting the greens, maybe another one, maybe ham parts. But don't overdo it. Don't put like 20 things into your smoothie, because so change it up. One morning you have this, next morning you have something else, and that's nice. I'm going to put the kale. Look at that beautiful kale. It's the lacinato kale. That is so much nutrients in there, and fiber, and it's fantastic. I'm just going to chop it, which you cannot see how it's behind my, just so that it's not a full leaf, like this. Add it to my blender, like this. There you go. And like I said, then, you won't know what it's in, and it's good for you. And here we are. Now, if you want your smoothie to be thicker, the trick is that you can add more fruits to it, or you add ice cubes. And there is your green smoothie. Whoopsies. There we go. And when you use raw cacao, it has what they say, the antioxidant. It does have it. It's not roasted. Don't use cacao roasted. So what happens when it's roasted, it reminds me of the vanilla, the extract. It's too, it's roasted, it's cooked, it tastes burned. And so you cannot, in a smoothie, you cannot cover up the taste really, or you need so much sugar to cover up. But in our case, you'll see we don't need that much sugar because it's the raw cacao. Back again with our 8 ounces of... Actually, I'm going to put a little less this time. I'm going to put 6 because we're putting the almond butter. There we go. Like that. Okay. And we need a tablespoon, there we are, of the cacao, and it's the raw cacao, like that. And we use bananas. So you have to use an ingredient that won't fight with the cacao, that won't take over the cacao taste. And bananas are perfect. Really, the next thing other than that would be the pears. But other fruits, they, you can try it. It just seems to not leave as much room for the cacao to really be there and have the taste. Okay, and then look at this. I have this yummy sprouted almond butter, and I'm putting a very generous tablespoon of it. It's gonna be so good. And here we go. And it's done. And there, look at this, creamy, and oh my gosh. So as you can see, because you have your kits ready, like I just did the 𝗺𝗶𝗂𝘂𝗁𝗂𝘀. So you put your cacao powder, you put your almond butter, your bananas in the freezer. So all you need is to have your milk ready. Put your milk, put your kit, push the button, and you're done. The blender that I have has cycles and it stops, so you don't have to stand by it and watch it. It's a Blendtec. But if you have another blender, that's fine too. You'll work it out. And there we are. So, to you, yummy breakfast.